Okay, and welcome back to my allotment. The other week in part one we planted seeds that could tolerate a little bit of cool weather, including our brassicas and our spring onions and our beetroot. The week after, on the 30th of April, we planted tomatoes. Now it's the 8th of May, things have warmed up a bit more, day and nighttime temperatures are more consistent, and it's really time to be thinking about planting our more tender plants. Now, although I'm at the allotment and I'm going to plant all the seeds here, I'm actually going to take them home where it's much warmer obviously and sprout them there so that they're ready. We get an early start so that they're ready to plant out as decent sized plants in about June, first week of June. So what we're doing, these are a bit more complicated than just sticking it in the ground. So what we're going to do, we're going to plant two sorts of maize, a sweet corn called Strong Star and a more decorative variety. It's really a flower corn, which is called Glass Gem. It has little kernels which are like little glass beads, which will be very decorative. So we're going to plant those, and the reason for doing that is that two different sorts is that I want a sweet corn anyway, but I don't want them to cross-pollinate because they're wind-pollinated. If they flower at the same time, we can end up with contamination, and we want a sweet corn, not a flowery corn. So hopefully these will flower and set seed, which is what we're going to eat, long before these get going really. We're also going to plant some pumpkin that they really don't like frost, so we're going to have those planted in pots and grow them on at home and bring them back here when the weather warms up. Same with loofahs. Loofahs really are sort of more of a subtropical plant really. I've struggled to grow these outside. In fact, I've struggled to grow them in the polytunnel. This year I'm gonna, what I really don't like is transplanting. So I've tried growing them in little pots and then planting them out, but as soon as you do that, they just stunt, they just stop. They don't want to grow, they don't want to know, they're not happy, they really kick up a fuss. So what I'm going to do this time is one of these 30-litre pots, plant the seeds directly in there. When they sprout, bring that back here into the nice warm polytunnel, and hopefully they'll romp away. Other plants that really like a bit of heat are chilies and peppers, same family, capsicums, solanaceae I suppose really, but they really like heat, so they're going to benefit from some bottom heat. So I'm going to put those in pots, take them home, stand them in a heated propagator, put a lid on, and when they've sprouted, take the lid off, and then when they're into small plants, bring them back here. So they all need slightly different little quirks. Sweet corn have got quite deep roots. There is another sweet corn video which I've made into a playlist, so hopefully that'll help you. Excuse me. At any rate, it's quite simple. We've got these root trainers, they just clip together. I won't dwell on this too long because I've done another video about this. They clip together, you fill them with soil, you stand them, excuse me, you stand rows of these in here, put the cover on top, and then when they sprout, take the cover off, and away you go. So they're quite straightforward. I've also got some pots for the other plants, just old porridge pots. I've drilled a hole in the bottom, and so we'll fill those with seed compost, pop our seeds in, and away we go. Let's crack on. When you fill your pots up, you want them quite near the top. By the time it's all compressed down, you don't want this you know, right half full. And that mostly is because you don't want, when your seeds grow up, you don't want them racing for the light. They want to get as much light as possible. So don't leave too much of a gap between the top of the pot and the soil. Now I've obviously become a bit befuddled by old age or something, but these aren't cayenne chilies, these are Anaheim, which I think are like a big long one. I know, we'll soon find out. So if I can get into the packet, we're going to plant, I think we are now going to plant 2 seeds in each pot, because I think if they both sprout, they're a bit unreliable. I don't know about the quality of these seeds, so I'm going to put 2 in each pot. If they both sprout up, all well and good, we'll just tease them apart when we come to plant them into their bigger pots. See if we can get into this now. Excuse me. Right, so like I say, just put 2 in each pot and we'll see how we get on. And then, because bell peppers and chilies, all those capsicums, the plants look exactly the same as far as I can tell, we're going to mark up these pots with a Sharpie as well. Okay, so that'll be enough for the Anaheim peppers. That'll be 6 plants. I've done 3 pots, 6 plants. If we get 6 plants, all well and good. If we don't, never mind. We don't need that many. These seeds I'll save and either use perhaps next year or give away. Or try again. If none of them sprout, I'll try the seeds. But if none of them sprout, then I'm sure it's a problem with the seeds, not the growing technique. But anyway, we've got spares. Okay, well that's chilies and peppers done. We're going to take those away back home, put them in a heated propagator, water them in obviously, put them in a heated propagator with a lid on top. When the leaves, the seed leaves sprout up, we'll take the lid off. Otherwise they can be susceptible to damping off, just like a fungal infection that rots them off. You don't want that. If you don't have a heated propagator, which is understandable because they're quite expensive, you can always just put a plastic bag over the top and leave them on a sunny windowsill. But you have to be patient with chilies and peppers because they can take a very long time to sprout, especially if you're not giving them bottom heat. Bottom heat is always best. It can take up to a month sometimes, but also as little as a week. So not much rhyme or reason to it really. Anyway, there you go, that's chilies and peppers done. Pop those there for a second. We're going to do pumpkins now. Exactly the same pots, exactly the same seed start compost. The only thing to remember with pumpkins is conventional wisdom tells us, and I think it's probably right, is that they can rot fairly easily. So when you put the seeds in, they're broad and flat. So when you put them in sideways along the long axis, a sort of rugby ball, like a flat rugby ball. Put them in sideways like that. And we'll just pop those in and they'll be up fairly soon. I'm going to do the same with the loofahs. Put those in sideways too. Except we're not going to put those in these little pots because they don't like transplanting so well, as far as I can tell. And we're going to take those home in the big 30-litre pot. And we'll do that later. You probably don't need to actually see that happen. And likewise with the sweet corn, I'm going to use those root trains I showed you earlier. There is another whole sequence of videos, like I said, on a playlist. So if you want to see cultivation of sweet corn, that's the way forward. But now's the time to start. This early May, you're going to grow them on, take them indoors, let them grow up a little bit. When it gets warmer, if you've got a greenhouse like this, a polytunnel, you can bring them out here for a little bit, let them harden off a little fraction, and then on about normally the 13th of June, something like that, when the soil is really warm, that's when we'll plant them out in the ground and start hitting them up and fertilising and everything else. But check out that sweet corn playlist. Right, I'm just going to put a bit of soil on top of these, and we'll be good. So if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, and maybe you could even join the my Allotment page group on Facebook. Lots of people setting out on their allotments, some of them for the very first time. So come and join the community, and perhaps we can all learn something together. Right, I'll let you get on. I'll see you later. Bye bye.